Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our coverage of the Vancouver Regional Championships, the VGC edition. We are here taking a look at round number 4. We're going to go ahead and hop on over. We have James Evan and James Baek here. These are two pretty prominent VGC names, and notably, they're both bringing similar but not the same strategies. One of the most popular Regulation G restricted Pokemon has been Shadow Rider Calyrex, and we have two different takes on it here. We have the Shadow Rider Calyrex for James Evans. It is Terra Normal with Life Orb, and it has Nasty Plot and Protect. We saw Choice Specs in the previous round. This is Psychic and Astral Barrage for its damage. Urshifu Rapid Strike here is going a little bit more offensive with a defensive Grass Terra, Mystic Water, Surging Strikes, Close Combat, Aqua Jet, and Detect. Cornerstone Mask, Ogerpon. This guy is all in, or this lady actually, is all in on the damage with a little bit of redirection with Follow Me. Amoonguss as well, for some more Follow Me, as well as the potential to use Spore. It is Terra Water with that Rocky Helmet. We've seen that come in pretty clutch against opposing Surging Strikes Urshifus, as well as anything that has a Focus Sash and hits physically. Then we also have Tornadus Incarnate for some speed control here, Bleakwind Storm, Tailwind, Rain Dance, and Protect. It's Terra Dark and Covert Cloak, so it can't be flinched, and it's going to be able to avoid any taunts. And then Chien Pao rounds it out, buffs up Urshifu and Ogerpon if that is a potential mode that James Evans wants to go for. It's Terra Ghost with Focus Sash, Ice Spinner, Sucker Punch, Throat Chop, and Protect. So, big things to note here, both Amoonguss and Ogerpon Cornerstone Mask can redirect for Calyrex here. A lot of times Urshifu and Ogerpon want to be on the field next to Chien Pao. Ogerpon can perform dual roles here. That's part of the reason why this Pokemon has been so popular. It can be a great utility piece. It can provide redirection along with some additional damage to round things out with Astral Barrage Chip, but it can also just throw out a ton of damage on its own, especially with an opposing especially with a partnering Chien Pao on the field. It has that sturdy ability, and it can also get defense boost if it goes for Terra Rock. We don't see that all that often, but it could come up every once in a while. On the other side of the table, we have another Calyrex Shadow Rider team here. Exact same Shadow Rider, except it's Terra Fairy and Spell Tag. All the attacks are the same, but those two things make the rest of this game massively different. Notably, in terms of redirection here, James Baek has Clefairy with Terra Grass, Eviolite, Icy Wind, Follow Me, Heal Pulse, and Protect. A little bit of redirection, and also this one has damage, notably, and that Friend Guard is going to make Calyrex that much bulkier. Mian Xiao is a super spicy pick here. Wide Guard is great into opposing Calyrexes. It has Close Combat, Fake Out, Taunt, Focus Sash, and Terra Ghost. This thing is also quite speedy, so this thing has a lot of utility. This thing can absolutely put in work. Rillaboom, Urshifu Rapid Strike, and Incineroar round out a really common 3 Pokemon core that we see quite a bit of. Rillaboom is Terra Fire with Woodhammer, Grass Glide, Fake Out, and U-Turn. Notably, there's also U-Turn on the Urshifu and Parting Shot on the Incineroar, so all of these 3 can rotate in and out. Urshifu does not have Aqua Jet here, although it does have Rain Dance. It is a Choice Scarf Rain Dance Urshifu Rapid Strike here, which is a super crazy move. I mean, in the last match, we saw a team with some really spicy picks not quite do so well, but with this Mian Xiao and Rain Dance Choice Scarf Urshifu Rapid Strikes, this is some exciting stuff here that James Baek has brought for us to the table. Now, the big thing here is Clefairy is kind of going to have to deal with the threat of an opposing Ogerpon, as well as Amoonguss. Clefairy really does not like to deal with Amoonguss. It can avoid going to sleep if it goes Terra Grass, although that's not going to be super common. That is more often than not kind of a last-minute defensive Terra, and you want to be saving your Terastallization for something that's going to be doing a lot more damage. Now, coming into game number 1 here, I wouldn't be surprised for both players to go on the aggressive. James Baek leads with the Rillaboom and the Calyrex Shadow Rider, and Evans leads with the Urshifu Rapid Strike and the Amoonguss. So, Fake Out pressure on the board for Baek. That does potentially mean that this Urshifu won't be moving. Rage Powder is not going to affect the Rillaboom here. That said, Calyrex isn't in exactly the best spot. Chances of it taking down the Amoonguss are not super high. That said, it could go for the Urshifu. But if it does, and if this Amoonguss is just kind of left to its own devices, putting the Calyrex to sleep could do a ton of work here. Right now, the big thing for James Baek to look out for is that Urshifu Rapid Strike should be able to one-shot the Calyrex if it gets the Surging Strikes off cleanly, which it likely should be able to. If there is not a Fake Out that comes in. So Rillaboom has a lot of work to do. It puts great pressure into the Urshifu Rapid Strike here. We do see a Terastallization, though, out of James Evans. There is no swap out. It is just going to be this Urshifu Rapid Strike going for that Terra Grass. So it won't take any super effective Psychic or super effective Grassy Glide damage, although it's still prone to Fake Out. We do see the Fake Out actually go into the Amoonguss here. That is going to do some Rocky Helmet recoil damage. Should be about the same, but Amoonguss is not going to get a Spore or Rage Powder off here, and that is going to be a nasty spot for the Calyrex, but the Surging Strikes is going to come through. I don't know if this is going to be a one-shot. It's going to be very, very close here. The math is always a little bit toasty, but okay, so it's going to take the Calyrex down to just about a quarter of its HP. That is pretty big if you are James Evans. You know now what exactly the calcs are for the next couple of games if you get there, but this Calyrex does have a nasty plot off, and we saw that it is very, very speedy. Now, Urshifu, this is not a choice scarf for Urshifu. This could go for a potential Aqua Jet. We know that James Evans has it. The question is, does a single Aqua Jet amount to a single Surging Strikes hit? I do not believe so. And even then, looking at what that Calyrex had, I don't even know if it'll do a quarter HP after that Grassy Terrain recovery. The math on that is a little hard. And if you're James, you're looking at that health bar. That's a really, really hard call to make. You're still a little bit worried about this Rillaboom. You want to try to get damage on it. The thing is that it's still such a big threat on the field. You know it can do a lot of damage, and Assault Vest is really, really tough for your Calyrex to deal with. Rillaboom on its own can potentially be a Shadow Rider Calyrex answer. We do see the Aqua Jet come out for James Evans here. That is going to do not quite enough. It takes that Calyrex down just so low, but it's not enough. Nasty Plot Astral Barrage here just does everything that James could have wanted, or well, James Baek could have wanted here. Again, when you're for Evans, that it's just such a tough calculation to make. I think if it hadn't been that Grassy Terrain recovery, that looks like that probably would have been a KO. U-turn fails for the Rillaboom here, but for James Baek, you are feeling all right here. You got the opposing Urshifu down. You got the Calyrex down. You're not completely out of the water yet, but this feels pretty good because in the back, you probably have some pretty nasty stuff. And notably, James Baek has not used his Terastallization yet, so Calyrex can go for Terra Fairy here, resist a lot of the stuff that James Evans wants to throw out. And, well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm saying this Calyrex can Terastallize. It's in the red. There's no reason for it to Terastallize. Now, this Tornadus has a really good opportunity to go for Tailwind here. I think if you're James Evans, your path to victory involves Tailwind and Astral Barrage, and those two moves just putting in the absolute work. That said, Rillaboom is still a very good Pokemon. Assault Vest makes this thing incredibly tanky. We do see James Baek switch out the Shadow Rider Calyrex here. You're pretty much guaranteed to go last with that Shadow, or not last, but go second with that Shadow Rider. So we see the Rillaboom stay in. Clefairy comes out with the Friend Guard to make this Rillaboom even tankier. We see the Terastallization come out as well, going into Terra Fire to remove the flying type weakness. I almost said wind type weakness, my apologies, but to remove the potential flying type weakness as well, making this Rillaboom as durable as possible. Astral Barrage is gonna come through here. It's going to do a decent amount of damage, but this is not a +2 Astral Barrage, and it does barely anything into the Rillaboom. Clefairy takes about a third of its HP. Whatever's going to come out now, this is going to do a ton of damage. It doesn't quite take out the Calyrex, but that is enough where if you are James, you're feeling really, really good coming into the close on this match. I think there's one more turn of Grassy Terrain. Yes, okay, so there should be one more turn. Ooh, 2 more turns of Grassy Terrain. Seeing James Evans checking that there. That is pretty big. That means Grassy Glide is still active. That, I imagine, could take out the Shadow Rider Calyrex. And James Evans has to go for the Protect there. Cannot try to risk it. Grassy Glide is going into that slot. We are going to see Tornadus get an opportunity to get some damage out here. If it's going for Bleak Wind Storm, we do know it has Rain Dance, but it is going to be that Bleak Wind Storm. Does some damage, but not nearly enough. Clefairy does have Icy Wind as well. That is a speed drop on the Clefairy, but that's the least important Pokemon. And it's Heal Pulse for James Baek. All of that hard work for James Evans, and Rillaboom is back almost all the way to full. Grassy Glide should still KO from this range. There's one more turn of this Grassy Terrain for James Baek. So, I mean, if you're James Evans, I think you just have to try to go for Protect one more time here. Hope it works. Hope you get some sort of crazy Bleak Wind Storm critical hit. But no, the Protect fails on the Calyrex here. We're going to see the Grassy Glide come in. It does enough damage. It is a very, very strong move, especially with that Grassy Terrain boost. And this Tornadus is just left to its own devices here. Bleak Wind Storm is also going to miss the Rillaboom, which is the biggest one. Clefairy still survives it absolutely no problem. And the Heal Pulse comes through once again, just keeping this Rillaboom as healthy as possible. We could potentially see some shenanigans if you are James Baek, where you try to heal up your Shadow Rider if you really want to, but that's probably going to be a losing situation for this game. It's Tornadus 1v4. James Evans, see the writing on the wall, and that is a very, Very strong game one for James Baek there. You feel really rough when you have a team that's similar, like we said before, similar, but it's not the exact same Pokemon, but you don't even lose to like the odd Pokemon. You just lose to Rillaboom. The Astral Barrage was incredibly good, don't get me wrong. Shadow Rider Calyrex is awesome, but at the end of the day, Assault Vest Rillaboom it's just a really good Pokemon. Fake Out feels really good. And I think notably, this Shadow Rider Calyrex is a little bit bulkier. I'm not as sure of the exact calculations on if it survives Surging Strikes, just no HP, no defense or anything, but that absolutely came in huge. So that being said, I'm interested to see if we see any adjustments for game number 2 here. I think if you're James Evans, you have to go for a different play on that turn 1. You've learned that the Shadow Rider Calyrex is not going down to a Surging Strikes. It's not even close, and you have to go an alternate route. Let's go ahead and dive on in. For James Baek, it's going to be the exact same lead, the Rillaboom and the Calyrex. And for James Evans, it is going to be the Tornadus and the Urshifu Rapid Strike. So changing up the lead here. Now for James Baek, do you go for the Fake Out into the Urshifu once again? Fake Out into the Tornadus isn't going to do anything here, but Tailwind getting set up is pretty darn good. We could potentially see another nasty plot here for James Baek. You might be a little bit worried about Surging Strikes plus Bleakwind Storm hitting you, which again, Calyrex, this definitely seems to be a bulkier Calyrex. I don't know if Bleakwind Storm would be able to take it out down at about a quarter of its HP, but Tornadus is no slouch. That could come down to the training. So question has come, you know Calyrex most likely isn't going down. Are you trying to get some other moves set up? Like, this is definitely a setup turn for both players. At least, I wouldn't say definitely. We saw James Baek go for that on turn 1, but we see the switch out here from the Rillaboom already. Clefairy is going to come out, make the Shadow Rider Calyrex even bulkier as well. Make it even, able to tank even more hits. That is telling me that James Baek is probably going for... Actually, I'll be real. I don't know. We see the Terrestrialization turn 1 come out for James Evans here. This is going to be a Terra Grass, Urshifu Rapid Strike, and a Rain Dance coming out for the Tornadus here. This is one of those ways to get enough damage on the board, but is it going to be able to overcome the Friend Guard? Astral Barrage comes through. It's going to do a good bit, but I don't think it takes KOs on either Pokemon here. No, but it brings them down to a third or even a quarter HP. Surging Strikes here did a good chunk, but once again, this is not going to be enough here. I think that Friend Guard as absolutely saving the day. A very good call from James Baek. Anticipating the potential Rain Dance here is going to be able to get another attack off with the Calyrex if he so chooses. But again, does Aqua Jet KO from this range? In the rain, that absolutely could be the case. For James Evans, you do also have Tailwind still, though. You can set that up, guarantee that a Surging Strikes is going to be cleanly able to go into that spot, but at the same time, Clefairy has Follow Me, so all that is kind of a moot point that I kept on forgetting about up until right before it happened. So at best, Surging Strikes is going to be going into that spot, and this Shadow Rider Calyrex is about to get another +2 bonus. James Evans already has the Tailwind set up, which is a pretty good call, but it depends entirely on what is in the back. Clefairy, I think, might survive. No, okay, still goes down. It was pretty close there, but Clefairy does indeed fall. This is going to be an Astral Barrage for James Baek. This is going to take down 2 Pokemon and give this Shadow Rider a +2 special attack. Now, what does James Baek have in the back for number 4? Pokemon number 4. Rillaboom is still alive and well as well. Again, we saw that as a very, very prominent win con in the previous game. And once again, an opposing Shadow Rider Calyrex is going to have a really bad time into that Rillaboom. So, this is going to be a +2. I'm interested to see if we're going to see James Baek's 4th Pokemon. But, okay, so for James Evans, we see the Shadow Rider Calyrex and the Amoonguss. Amoonguss doesn't mind going into Rillaboom, but even then, it does not have the best matchup, especially for James Baek's Rillaboom, who has U-turn, which is super effective into the Amoonguss. That is actually incredibly dangerous. So, James Evans has notably already used his Terrestrialization as well. James Baek has not, once again, used his Terrestrialization here. Rillaboom coming out onto the battlefield now. Again, this was the big player in game number 1. Obviously, Shadow Rider Calyrex took 2 KOs, but Rillaboom locked it down and closed up that game. It did have Friend Guard Clefairy to help bolster it, but right now, James Evans is in a pretty precarious position. It doesn't feel as dire as the previous game. You already have Tailwind set up. You have the opportunity to go for Sludge Bombs. You can go for Spore if you need to as well, if you think you can survive with this Amoonguss. And again, your Calyrex is faster if you're James Evans. You're going to be able to take out the opposing Calyrex if it stays on the field and doesn't protect. The Rillaboom, though, is an entirely other problem. You know that a Wood Hammer here can just absolutely cause problems. It doesn't KO the Calyrex, but it does a ton of damage. And we see James Baek goes for a Protect here, keeping that Shadow Rider Calyrex on the field. We know that James Evans' Calyrex goes down to a Wood Hammer plus Grassy Glide, and that Rillaboom cannot get anything redirected. It is going into that Shadow Rider one way or another. The question is, where is this Sludge Bomb going, which I'm sure we are going to see from James Evans. Wood Hammer comes through, goes into the Calyrex, takes it down to 23 HP. Rillaboom is damaged by the recoil. How much is Sludge Bomb going to do here? It does enough. Rillaboom goes down. That is huge, and we are going to have to see James Baek's 4th Pokemon. James Evans not feeling too hot here, but could be worse. It's going to be a 2v2 on these last few turns, but it's Mienshao in the back. This Pokemon so Fake Out. So remember, Fake Out, Taunt, Close Combat. I don't remember what the 4th move was, but this thing is dangerous. It can Fake Out the Amoonguss if it needs to. I don't know if that is the play right now. Mienshao is also incredibly fast. It can take out this Amoonguss as needed. Right now, if you're James Evans, you're a little bit worried about this thing just being able to deal with you. I know this Mienshao had one more move that can hit this Calyrex. Again, if my memory was better, I would have that in the bag. But the Amoonguss... The question becomes, do you try to KO the opposing Calyrex here? It's Wide Guard. That is the move of choice. That is what it is. So this is going to cause problems for the opposing Calyrex. James Evans has to go for the Psychic here. I don't know if it's enough, and it's not. It doesn't do enough. Once again, that Grassy Terrain recovery here coming up absolutely massive for James Baek. We're going to see the Psychic into the Amoonguss, which takes it down. It is now going to be a 2v1. I believe there is an opportunity for James Baek to go for Tailwind here. Not Tailwind here. For Protect here. And I think for James Evans... yeah, that is simply not going to, you're going to lose to your own Life Orb at the end of the day. That is going to be a concession, and James Baek takes home round number 4 in 2-0 fashion. Now, I will say, I am not certain that that match was over. I don't know exactly how many turns of Tailwind were left, but here, I don't do this often, but we're going to go back into game number 1. And we are going to take a look at what this Mienshao has, because I actually am not certain. Yeah. So this Mienshao can't hit the Shadow Rider. Can't hit the opposing Shadow Rider. And I think James Evans' Shadow Rider is faster, even out of Tailwind. So I think we saw James Baek sitting there at the end for a second, wondering why there was a concession, even though James Evans might have still been able to do it, because that Mienshao can't do anything. That's a very interesting question. Sometimes you might concede a little bit too early, but we're going to be looking at round 5 tomorrow. We'll see if we get some more exciting stuff here, but until next time, be safe, be smart, make wise decisions, and farewell.